Well, good afternoon, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. We have a very exciting session for you from Adobe. I'm not from Adobe. My name is Dinesh Chandrasekhar. I'm from CA Technologies, but I've had a very long-standing relationship with Adobe. In my previous company, I worked with Adobe as a vendor, but I've been marveling at how much Adobe has been adaptive in terms of constant technology changes and industry changes, and how they've been able to keep up with all their constantly changing business needs by adapting their IT team into these evolving technology trends. And one of the key people that I've been working with at Adobe is Dinesh Gopinathan, who will be the key speaker for this session today. And he is a business technology leader at Adobe, and he's been constantly at the forefront trying to keep up with these kinds of changes, whether it be bringing on board a new iPaaS or bringing on board new mobile applications to the market. Whatever be it, that the business throws at him, he's able to handle it. So it's a great honor to welcome my friend and a good colleague that I worked with, Dinesh Gopinathan, on stage, and I have him talk to you about how Adobe secures, manages, and deploys enterprise mobile apps. So let's welcome Dinesh.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dinesh Gopinathan. I'm with Adobe for the last 13 years. I'll be talking about more on this. Today's session is around how we are envisioning the mobile security and the single sign-on changes that we are going to do at Adobe in the future phases of what the next year is going to be. So, quick agenda on what the flow of the whole storyline is going to be. I'm going to walk through some of the success that we had with API Management Gateway, and quickly touch base on some of the solutions that we use other than Gateway for at Adobe from the CS solutions. What's next for us as we delve into 2017, and some of the problems that we have today, and how we are approaching to solve it as we go into 2017 phases. And some of the challenges that I see as part of the mobile adoption within Adobe itself. 3 years ago, Adobe has gone through a massive transformation, digital transformation into cloud space. We have all our services now available in the cloud, and that gave birth to 3 different cloud services. Adobe Document Cloud, where the way you think about PDF and EcoSign, all those document processes are handled at the Adobe Cloud. Creative Cloud is more around if you are a creative professional and if you have a bright idea, you want to change it or make it into the best work that you want to send it to all the creative community. We have Creative Cloud that can handle all that. And Marketing Cloud is one spot for all the digital marketers who needs to do their job in the digital space. So with that, let me move on to what my little bit of a background on what I have today. Been with Adobe for the last 13 years, and every year that I've been with Adobe has been a new year for me, because Adobe is a very constantly changing environment and keeps me motivated to stay on and on. It's sort of, we call ourselves here as it's an enterprise company with a startup blood. That's what we call Adobe as, because every single unit, they are self-sufficient, they are very energized. All the leadership team are fully help us or enabled us to make decisions and take risk and fail fast as we delve into new areas and the researches and the development that we are doing today. So last 3 years, I've been handling iPaaS. I don't know how many people are using, or anybody familiar with iPaaS? Anyone? Yeah? Only 1, 2? Okay, so so integration platform as a service is that full form of that acronym. So what that is more around, we've been a traditionally centralized integration team. We used to do all the integration development. What we have done is, as part of the whole digital transformation, in order to achieve the speed, to market, we have completely decentralized the application integration development in the hands of various business stakeholders. So we are not sort of the choking bottleneck on the IT to run or build those integrations ourselves. It's going to be on the business stakeholder side, where they will be building the integrations themselves. That's the idea of the iPaaS. And this is a space that I have got a lot of passion, and for last 3 years, I've been leading the whole IT team to actually move into this space, and a lot of energy that has been, or sort of the adoption has been also on the Adobe business community as well, to start using integration platform as a service. So I want to give a layout of what CA solutions that we have today. Obviously, API gateway, CA API gateway, we started off way back when it was layer 7. We have a very long-standing relationship with CA right now. For the last 5-6 years, we've been using API gateway. We are so mature on that space. With that in mind, that we are constantly looking at changes, the new product innovation, new way to do things. So we are sort of looking at various factors where I can power my iPaaS or the integration platform services behind the scenes. So one of the things that I see that is a problem today is related to the mobile application development security. And that actually made me to start looking into API gateway, the mobile API gateway, the MAG. And as I see in the last year when I went to the Gartner conference right here in Las Vegas, an application architecture conference, I saw this wonderful live API creator demo by the CTO of CA Technologies, and I thought that was like, wow, it's a great innovation, because we spent a lot of time building applications, talking to the database, but with this, everything can be done in less than few weeks, or even less than a month or so. So I want to take this forward, and I'm going to walk you through some of the innovation that we will be doing around this space. But for this particular session, I'll be specifically focusing on what I'm doing with respect to mobile application, mobile API gateway, which addresses my mobile application needs today. I want to share some success, or a great deal of success that we had with API gateway today. Definitely all our enterprise APIs are secured behind CA API gateway. We have got 150 of them, in fact more, as we go on the space. And all are secured, has got a lot of deep security, it's SOX compliant, it's got HIPAA compliance, all the PII compliance all in place that is baked into our gateway, that our enterprise APIs are having that kind of the security rigor that is actually applied. With the 2 SSL, Adobe IMS, all the standard security model that we should have within our API. And it is served out of 5 different regions today. All the APIs are accessible from 5 different regions. We provide 4 nines availability today. Since we have multiple regions, it can fail over very quickly. Some of the cool innovation that we have done last year is around the policy development. Since I said the iPaaS is my way of thinking, decentralize the application development. So if I have to enable my customers to build the API themselves, or at least secure the API themselves, I have to build some sort of a self-service portal. So we did that work last year. I think there's a lot of APIs that are getting onboarded into the API gateway through our API for our self-service portal. And that actually has led to a lot of adoption onto our gateway, because of the fact that prior to that, we had very cumbersome policies that we had. It was only a central team can figure this out, how to do that on the gateway. Now with all the self-service, we have completely defragmented the API policies, and it made birth to the single self-service portal that makes the interaction with the consumer who wants to actually host an API on our platform made it so easy. So that gave a lot of control over to the consumers. And obviously, when you give the control over to the consumers, they need to see what's my adoption rate and what's my analytics looks like. So we provide that analytics that actually is fetched out of the gateway and presented as in our portal in a nice fashion, so that tabular dashboard, so they get to know how the APIs are used today, and what's their from which geography this is coming from, who's using it, how long this has been used, all kinds of analytics we provide for them. So that's our success story with API Gateway today. So with that in focus, as I said, we wanted to solve more problems as leadership enabled us to say that, hey, what are the problems that that's out there that we wanted to put solutions to solve it, right? So, and also if you look at it, as I said, there are a lot of services teams like my team is there within Adobe. And all the services team need to provide some sort of approval capability, some sort of analytics capability, utilization capabilities. Everything is all now available within their self-service or their own services portal. Now, if that has to go into or served out of mobile devices, it will have much more user friendliness, user experience, and also will provide a lot more visibility in the mobile itself, rather than you need to log onto the laptop and connect to a VPN if you're remotely traveling or at home. It makes it more difficult right now for people to actually start using their individual service capabilities or utilization or problems that are occurring within the service itself. Now, with the explosion of the services teams, what happens is we have got, what I'm seeing is there's going to be an uptick on the mobile services as well. Mobile application development that need to be delivered by the services team, so that it is more user-friendly for everybody to start using and consuming the service through the mobile devices itself. So that gives us another problem, right? So we cannot keep logging onto each of those applications one by one, so we need to have some sort of a single sign-on needed. So that actually is going to be my #1 target to go after. How can I improve the experience of the users through the single sign-on capability that I can provide within mobile? We do have a good single sign-on setup within the web browser, but I don't think we have a very good shot at the mobile device or mobile application itself. And the second thing is more around, people are developing a lot of Java application to make their data sources available as an API today. Now with this live API creator, I see a great opportunity right there. You can simply put that on, connect all your data sources, turn all these data sources into an API, and that can be kind of front-ended into the mobile apps or the desktop application itself. So there's a lot of agility that I can bring towards the API development. Obviously, the microservices is sort of the very infancy right now we are on. So I'm not going to focus more next year on that, but that is coming in the going forward. So pretty much it's a mobile security area and also the API development area that I'll be focusing next year. So as I said, what are we trying to solve? So any solution that I put in needs to have, what is your problem statement? What is it going to give you? So one of the biggest, or at least there are multiple problems. I kind of categorize that and put the top 3 that is more central to what the problem I want to solve for the business. Definitely, all our mobile apps today that we are using in Adobe needs VPN access if you're remote. If you're on the premises, in the office, you have the corporate Wi-Fi. You have got the corporate signature, you don't need to have a VPN. But if you're away, we need to have the VPN. Now, if you turn on the VPN, what happens is that's more, you're enabling the device itself to be accessible to all the assets within Adobe application or landscape, right? So that's sort of a bit of an exposure from our perspective. There's a potential, but it's not too much of a problem today, but there is a potential that there is a wider exposure that we can have if those devices are compromised or lost immediately. We do have a good MDM system where you can lock the device or scratch the device very quickly, but still, we have this little, if that is in the hands of a wrong person, we can turn on the VPN and log into the internal systems. It's only for the corporate system that is behind the firewall. And also, As I said, there are a lot of application development that is happening today from the mobile space, and everybody is actually going through their own security. They're developing security module for each of those applications. So that actually is giving us no reusability, because every single team, they're developing the security application, security module within their apps because there is mandates that we should be using two-factor authentication, and there's a bunch of security guidelines that has been given, and we have to build that on every app if that app has to be available in our app catalog today. So that gives us not much of a standards that I'm seeing, and also a longer development cycle. Obviously, there's multiple, you are repeating the same kind of development over and over again for multiple applications. The third one is the biggest one for me, because yeah, you got this app on the App Store or app catalog, and everybody's using it, and it's all installed on our devices. But every time, not everybody is going to have every single app on their mobile device. Like a user like me, I hardly have 3 apps, right? So if I have to come in the morning, I have to access my apps, I need to log in 3 times. Log in first on the first app, and second time, third one, and it needs to be a two-factor authentication as well. So that actually gives you a lot more poor user experience, and I'm tired of logging in, then I'll start to use the desktop, right? So the mobile seem to be not getting that traction or adoption as we expect the mobile should go. So these are the 3 main problems that, obviously we have others, but 3 main problems that we thought is good to tackle for the next year. Just a layout on what's our landscape on the mobility management today. So definitely the AirWatch does all the device management and the mobile app catalog management. And definitely our standards is two-factor authentication, single sign-on for any identity and access management that is going to be built or going to be deployed in Adobe. And also some of our APIs have to be behind an API gateway, which is our CSCA API gateway, to secure the enterprise applications. And most of the applications on the mobile space are either native or hybrid. We support both. Obviously, the data analytics and the data encryption is core to the data management of the enterprise mobility. I want to quickly skip on to this slide. So here's where our legacy architecture today. So we have Okta is our identity management, where all these devices, they talk to the backend application services directly over a VPN connect, and also does the Okta two-factor authentication that happens. So you can see that there's a sprawl of applications that are surrounding these mobile devices, and they all need that VPN connection or the Wi-Fi connection that needs to go into our applications and request two-factor authentication. So if somebody has got 10 apps they are accessing every day, that is it. He's going to spend at least almost 30 to 50 minutes just to log in with the two-factor authentication. So here's my proposal for the new architecture that we think will lead us to the future. So I'm going to completely remove that direct interaction with the mobile client and the application. Rather, I would be mediating the sessions and the security through the mobile API gateway. So that's the sort of the vision I'm moving towards. We did some POC. It's been a good success. I think we need to delve in a little bit more deeper into it. I think I got some CA solution experts joining us in this POC venture, and make sure that we get the best out of the brains and get the best solution in place, so that this is going to explode. If I have this today, I can tell you there is going to be a lot more mobile application development is going to start. But it's not there, so they feel that I developed something but nobody's using it. So it's a supply-demand sort of situation. So nobody wants to use it, or at least less people wanted to use it, so there's not much traction at the moment. All right, so how do I go back? Okay, let me go back to the slide I skipped. So that actually is, will give me a deep down on the MAG or the mobile API gateway workflow. So basically we have the devices that is on the internet. We call it always outside somewhere. That actually will be mediated through the DMZ layer through our internal gateway. Now, the gateway that we are going to use is exactly the same thing that we have with the mobile extension or the MAG extension that is going to be baked into our gateway itself. Today we are running 8.3 gateway version. We are going to upgrade it to 9.1 and with MAG enabled. So that will help us get our mobile application development or mobile access through our API gateway is going to be will be deployed. All right. So continuing on it. So if I get that right. So this is the business outcome that I'm expecting to happen. I'm not going to say that you don't even ever need a VPN at all on our devices, because there are something that requires VPN, and I'm going to walk you through what that something is. But if I'm a user having only 2 in-house developed app, I don't need a VPN if I have the solution. So basically, I'm actually limiting the exposure, the security exposure of that device itself. My security director was thrilled when I told this one that I'm going to limit the exposure of the security for them. Whatever that you can do, Dinesh, go ahead and tell me the story and prove how it is going to happen. And this is some of the promises that I've got as part of the business outcome. And the second one is around how the whole security module that we talked about. If I can centralize within the MAG, the people doesn't need to develop over and over again. They can simply leverage my SDK and then start baking into their mobile application. So it'll have the full reusability. We can maintain the standards that we want, and also it can lead to the faster development cycle. And the third one, as I said, this is the core to the MAG solution that I'm trying to put in, is this mobile single sign-on. This is very critical, folks. If I can avoid that repetitive login for users, I can tell you our mobile apps is going to, the adoption is going to explode. So if I get this right, still keep the 2-factor authentication and have the mobile SSO, problem solved. And I've already got the path. I've already verified the path with the CA solution experts. We're going to work on a POC, sort of a hackathon sort of model, to make sure that this works. This works. And this is going to be my 2017 futuristic approach for the mobile application development. Now, obviously, I'm not going to solve everything. I still believe that, out of the whole, not everything in Adobe space is homegrown mobile application. There are vendor application that is there. Like, take examples like MicroStrategy or Salesforce. They are home delivered, the vendor delivered app. We don't have anything that we can do with the single sign-on for them, unless they give us a client code that we can monkey with a code to do the SDK, bake into it, and kind of make it more single sign-on. So that is going to be sort of the oddball, going to sit there. I don't think I've got any solution, or neither I have not got much attraction on that yet. And also, whatever that has already started to use today, like those apps that are already available today, they are not ready for the MAG, right? So any new app development is going to be adopting. I can persuade them to get the MAG, or if others who have got the ability to actually change, then I think I can make that app ready for the MAG, right? So that will be one of the challenges that I'll be facing as I go into the space. And the third one is more around. I was asking the question in the previous session to one of the product directors, I think. We have limited dev framework support today on MAG with Cordova and PhoneGap, but I do see that in doing a lot of research on the different mobile app development community. There is Ionic, people are using Ionic, people are using PhoneGap, some are using jQuery, and there's a multiple development framework that people are using because they are familiar with it, so therefore they're using it, right? So, but we cannot use that all with the MAG thing. So there's going to be a bit of a conversation that I need to have with the team to make sure that they try to use the right dev framework, which is more friendly for Mag, because it's going to give a lot more benefit by doing that. I know that it's going to give a lot of development-friendly approach for the hybrid development, but it's going to lose the other one. So we have to have sort of a trade-off somewhere to make sure that I kind of persuade them into the Mag way. So that is all from my side that I can give you as part of the storyline. So I'm going to invite Dinesh Chandrasekhar here back. He's going to walk through us on the mobile application development strategy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks.
I mean, this was very insightful. Thank you so much for walking us through what Adobe is doing and planning. Very helpful. What I thought we'll do for the sake of the audience here is, you presented a very nice perspective into mobile security and mobile backend application building and all this stuff. I wanted to throw in the concept of mobile app development out there as something that we need to consider as an enterprise, particularly from a development challenge standpoint, as well as from how do you overcome that with technology, right? So we need to address that as well, because this is something every enterprise, including Adobe, will face, and I just want to bring it up to the conversation here. So I just want to throw out some stats out there, just to kind of discuss the broader strokes of where the industry is headed, because we all know that there are umpteen mobile apps everywhere, and every enterprise is building out dozens of apps every year and all that. But the market demand is constantly increasing, and that's you cannot deny that. And even including Adobe, there is constant stream of mobile apps being built out. And I think at one point, you mentioned in a casual conversation as to how many mobile apps you are actually having inside the VPN as you were talking. So can you give us some stats on where you are, how many apps you have, and
Right. So we did the inventory of the app catalog. We have close to 80 apps today. About 25-30% are homegrown. Rest of it is all vendor developed app. So we're about 30, 70,
yeah,
80 apps right now.
And Adobe is a significantly large enterprise. So given that that number is definitely something that is reasonable, but there are enterprises mid-tier to large tier that have the similar amount of large number of apps out there. What this means is there are going to be development challenges, and we'll discuss that in this upcoming slides. One other stat that I want to throw out there is business processes. At least 60% of business processes will be mobile optimized by 2018. That's again one of the stats that came out from one of the research analysts out there. So I want to again ask Dinesh here and ask him, what are some of the top business processes or examples of business processes at Adobe that you're trying to optimize for mobile?
Right. So I think almost every employee in Adobe has a Adobe paid mobile phone. Maybe that's an overstatement. Probably some of the support folks, some of the sales folks, marketing folks in the field. I would say close to 60 to 70% of the people own an Adobe paid phone, right? So the process that I think can gain more traction here is the approval process, right? Today, the mobile approvals are done through desktop softwares today. There are some custom-made mobile application software for approvals. That's one area I see that is a nice use case for our Mag story. If that process can be made very seamless for the approval process, that'll help.
Okay.
The second thing is around, as I said, there are a lot of services teams that are coming up. They wanted to produce utilization metrics or adoption metrics, and some of the stats for their services so that they know where they are, right? So those services teams are starting to build the mobile app so that they can give or deliver the services of their services that they're managing through the mobile device itself. So that's the second use case. The third one is more around some of the inside Adobe's directory services that are there today, and some of the conference room bookings, those kind of processes. They can do it through mobile device itself. Today they go to the desktop, they look up, they have mobile apps as well. So that could be a nice use case that can get into the Mag story. today. So those are the top three I think can go right away into MAG if I get this right.
Yeah.
So.
But you also talked about support for mobile applications outside the enterprise as well, like people not being inside the VPN, they're outside but shouldn't be logging into VPN. So what would be an example of an external use case like that? Why would I be outside? Like, is that an Adobe support person that has a mobile device? Or?
Correct. So take me as an example. So I get constant, approval requirement. Like I just finished up one.
And you're outside your.
Exactly. So I'm in the conference now. So today what I need to do is that I need to log in to factor authentication and then do the VPN and then get to my inside system to do an approval process today. Now with this, if I can just launch the app and still have my two-factor authentication, that's there, but I don't need a VPN, I can simply approve it. So every manager, so if you look at most of the managers, they use approval as one of the way to give authority to make changes. So that's one thing, and also add more people, delete something, or give access to certain data. All these kind of approvals are still orchestrated, can be orchestrated through mobile devices.
Fantastic, thank you. So see, this is like a great example for a user experience. He's a mobile user, he's trying to use this mobile application, and he has this experience that he's not very happy about. He wants to kind of make that change that makes it more seamless, makes it more easy for him to adapt and go access his enterprise applications much more instantly and quickly. Now, on the same note, what we are missing out as an enterprise is to address the notion of developer experience. So there is 70% of the cost of a standalone mobile app that is spent primarily on backend integrations. And when I say integrations, it doesn't necessarily mean accessing a backend database. There are umpteen number of feature functions, backend services that need to be built out for every mobile application, including security, right? Every enterprise mobile app that you build out needs to have user management, group management, login capabilities, security. Everything is repetitive. And the more and more mobile apps you're churning out, it just means that you're spending more and more time trying to reinvent the wheel or rewriting the same thing over and over again. So there is that need for that framework. There is that need for simplifying all those backend functions, not only from a time standpoint, but also from a cost standpoint. So I'll start off with painting three broad themes from Gartner. This is very important to the discussion of mobile app development, right? So first one is, there is no single development platform that is going to solve all mobile app use cases. This is kind of given because we have developers that have preferences. Dinesh explained when he was talking about the need for different frameworks and the support or the requirement for supporting all those different frameworks. So it just is coming to the point where developers are fed up I don't want a mobile suite that kind of does everything, but I want something that is easy to adapt. I can mix and match and still be able to build out complex enterprise mobile applications. Second thing is about the diversity of the nature of mobile applications, right? So we have different types of OSs, iOS, Android, and all the stuff. And then also the need for developing with different tools. Do I write one for iOS, one for Android, or can I write once and compile and deploy for many? So those kinds of questions come up, and that is again a key important thing for an enterprise to consider. And the last thing is about the backlog. You have a company as large as Adobe coming out with so many different business requirements, then you have a lot of different needs that basically drive you to building out more and more mobile applications, which builds up that backlog unless and until you have a simplified way to address how do I build out mobile apps quicker, faster, and get it to market more in an accelerated fashion. So I want to paint this picture here with an anatomy of a mobile app. This is a very interesting thing for me because every time I talk to somebody about a mobile app, particularly about building a mobile app, they talk about UX. They say, hey, it's all about the UX because a customer that uses a mobile app says yay or nay from the first screen of the mobile app. If the screen sucks, I'm not going to use the mobile app. I'm going to throw it away. If it's good, if the experience is good, like what you're saying from a user experience standpoint, if it is good, I'm going to love it. I'm going to start using it. So it is about the user experience. So everybody thinks UX is primarily the thing to focus on. Absolutely. But there is, as I said, a 70% of work that needs to go behind the scenes that is beyond UX as well. And that is what we need to focus on. So I want to slice and dice this mobile app to tell you how this is made up, right? So first, we have a UX developer. That is what they focus on, building out the UI for the mobile application. And then there is a data or an API developer that is more focusing on what are the different APIs that I'll need for accessing the backend data services and all that. I know that you will be talking about some of those kinds of capabilities, but it's kind of interesting to address that, because that is a thing that is overlooked quite often, that is also part of mobile app building. If I need some data in my mobile application, I need those APIs to be built out in a way that is consumable by my mobile application, as well as catering to the needs of security that the enterprise warrants. And the last thing would be the backend functions that we've been talking about. What are these backend functions, right? This could be about local storage. Your device has need for storing a document locally or on the cloud. Those kinds of storage requirements that a mobile application would need. User messaging, chat functionality that you need to do with other peers of your mobile application. Like Dinesh is out here. He needs to communicate with his manager through his enterprise mobile application. If you can say, hey, I looked at this workflow. This is not good. We need to review it again, or something like that. That is a need for messaging. And user account and address books, again, going back to the same needs again, enterprise directories are relevant in an enterprise mobile application. The need for looking up those kinds of enterprise address books, looking up users, allowing group management within that set of users is also relevant. And the last set would be about IoT. That is also something that is prevalently coming up, because every mobile application is kind of connected to some kind of a IoT thing, or the other way around. If you have an IoT device, you have to have a mobile application to communicate, connect, and talk to that particular IoT device. So this kind of comes about full circle in terms of building out what an enterprise mobile application looks like. So the anatomy basically is sliced and diced by this way, that you cannot just think of it as just UI alone, right? So what CA brings to the table is there is this mobile API gateway that Dinesh talked about, that is already there, that many of you probably are already familiar with, that acts as the security layer for all your mobile applications accessing your enterprise systems. But then the mobile app services, which is something that I want to stress upon from a concept of mobile app development, is what will help you in getting your mobile applications faster to market. For example, all these different capabilities that we talked about in terms of backend functions, they are available as an SDK. Very easily you can drag and drop 2 lines of SDK code to accomplish user messaging or whatever it needs to be done from a backend functionality standpoint without having to write thousands of lines of code. So that is about simplifying these kinds of backend functions very easily for your mobile app developers. So to break it down from what Dinesh said in terms of what they are using at Adobe, and to what I've been talking about in terms of slicing and dicing this mobile application, the data functions that you typically need for accessing your customer database and all that is typically done using CA Live API Creator. This is a nifty tool. If you haven't seen the demos, you should go check it out. It's a very easy way to connect up with backend databases and expose them as APIs. And security functions delivered through the mobile API gateway, and of course all the backend functions that we talked about through mobile app services. So what I'm trying to get to is CA API management has this full end-to-end app to API kind of offering that helps you build out complex enterprise mobile applications very easily through this. But I want to pause here and ask Dinesh this question. With the way I broke it down in terms of data functions and security functions and UX and all that, where do you see your enterprise mobile applications? Do you look at it as that kind of a design? Do you break it up like that? What is the strategy that you adopt at Adobe?
Right. Monday, we're going to get together and come up with a strategy on how we are going to take our iPaaS offering that is actually sitting only on desktop today. How can I make it more mobile enabled? So that's my number one goal, that I want to start the discussion. Now, I can just tell that easily, but to make that work is not so easy. So some of the things I was looking at your slide that helps me paint the picture that we have today. We have this the huge backend and the front end full stack application sitting there and on the Tomcat system, talking to the database and browser enabled. So first we need to decouple them. the back end and the front end has to be decoupled, right? The back end, when I say, it's more like how I make my data store as an API. If I can make that happen, my UX can stay separately for browser, and I can develop a mobile apps separately that can talk to my backend services. So if I can make that work, and I'm thinking about, since we already have API creator, live API creator, we can simply remove the code out of the Java program right now, and then start putting the live API creator there, and make all those data stores as an API for the UX layer.
Oh, wow.
So that is the sort of the POC. We want to start doing it and see if we can put a model through it to make it happen. Now, the mobile story is going to be, as I said, that is going to be a POC that we need to do in terms of how the security is going to be maintained. So that's something that I am looking forward to CA to help me out a little bit on how to make that POC work, keeping that two-factor authentication, still enabling the single sign-on, and adhering to all the security guidelines that security mandates for Adobe to make that work. So with that, I am already seeing that the MAG and the Live API Creator has got straight away use case for the service that I am providing for my customers, delivered through mobile and through the browser.
Perfect, perfect, thank you. And it is important to acknowledge the different personas that exist within the enterprise as well. From a developer standpoint, there are API developers, there are database developers, there are mobile developers. So catering to the needs of all those and delivering this developer experience, as I started off saying, is very important, because that will help you boost up building out these mobile applications much more faster. So with that, I want to thank you all for coming to the Dinesh and Dinesh show. Appreciate it. And Dinesh will be available here after the presentation if you want to have a chat and have any other questions for him on his implementation and what's going on at Adobe and all that too. So thank you once again for attending, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.